Hello everyone and welcome to another unboxing, and look how huge this is. So Newegg sent me this to unbox and review. This is the Obsidian Series 500D from Corsair. There's a bunch of Obsidian Series cases. This is sort of like, I think, the mid-range. I think there's a 600 up top, 400 down below. This one is, they call it the mid-tower, although it does fit full ATX motherboards. So we're gonna pop this out of the box. Oh, it's like giving birth. So it's massive. It's funny that they call this a mid-tower, but we all know that those naming conventions are just garbage. It's very heavy, so it is very hard to lift. It comes in this sweet microfiber thing. You know, interestingly enough, when I used to work in a laboratory environment, this is the same material that the temporary sterile suits were made out of. Fun fact of the day. Oh god. Okay. So here we are. Let's get to the action. All right, so here we are. It's a big old case. The top is actually really cool looking. It's got this crazy protective cover. First and foremost, we have on the front 2 standard USB 3.0 ports, reset button power, and a USB Type-C on the front, which is pretty cool. And of course, microphone and audio. There's no door on the front. That just kind of opens. They've pretty much just abandoned all use of a disk drive. They're not doing disk drives on this one. It's a pretty decently sized case, I'd say. Let's see here. What are we doing here? So that looks pretty sweet. It's like sort of a brushed flat black metal, like not like the Norwegian kind, but like the metal kind. First impressions, it looks awesome. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it looks pretty cool. Hopefully this is getting picked up on the image. It's super black, so it might look a little weird. I'm peeling off all the protective membranes. So first impressions of this case, it's pretty cool. It's very huge. I'm not sure how I feel about the fact that you can just open the sides. They just come open. They're just kind of subtly magneted on there. There's no seal between here and the inside of the case. It's just kind of open, right? So like you can literally almost stick your hand down between the side of the case, and it's oh god, it's pretty sweet triangles, and it's really nice on top. You pretty much can't set anything on top of this case though, because of the perforations and because of this finish. You're probably gonna scratch it. I've already gotten fingerprints all over it. So it's really good for a case. Pow. I'll figure out where this goes at some point. So on the back we've got 7 expansion ports here, 2 extra ones here for some, like a fan controller maybe, or something else that you would want to put there. Fits one 120mm fan back here. That's about all you could probably get away with. You might be able to put 2 80s. Although, interestingly enough, you can actually take this fan, I don't know if you can see that, but you can actually loosen this and slide it down or up. Direct the airflow where you want, which is kind of strange. Obviously power supplies on the bottom like we like to see. Moving around to this side, the right side of the case. This nice black tinted acrylic, which is pretty cool. Mounting for SSDs or 2.5-inch drives here. These are like thumb screws. They're apparently tightened with Goliath strength, so I'll have to use screwdrivers to get those off. But you can put them right here. They're underneath your motherboard and hidden, so that's pretty cool. You can route your SATA cables sort of up and just plug them straight in here, which is kind of nice. Same with hard drives. Excellent. Same with the hard drives. They mount here, and they just slide off, so if I could actually get these off with my hands, These are like plastic. They're for your 3.5-inch drives, and there's 2 of those, 3 of the SSDs on this side. Kind of cool because they're all hidden. All right, so we've talked amongst ourselves about this case. We've got a few notes here. This is not supposed to move, and it does anyway. It's missing a screw over here, and the 3 here are not tight at all. But if you push in the gap here, you actually have this massive fan filter that goes up here. And it slides just right in the top. So the funny thing about this, of course, like I said before, there's gaps here. So this is a gap, there's a gap here, and there's a gap on the other side in the same spot. So really, there's no good way to seal this off anyway, because there's a huge gap here. So the filter is kind of redundant because you're not really filtering much of anything. Anyway, that being said, something else I'm noting is that if you see here, there's actually sliders for a regular case side right here and on the back, like you would slide a normal case side in, but they put these on here, so it's like they used the same chassis and then upgraded around it, which is kind of weird. And also there's a front filter that magnets on, and you can just pull that forward and then, oh gosh, very strong magnets, and slide out. So that one also comes out the front. Ba-da-da-da. So, one 120mm fan installed in the back here, and another 120mm installed in the front. They're both Corsair branded. You can have 3 120mm fans installed, one lower and one higher. And this whole fan grill is removable, so you could take this off and mount a radiator and then stick it back on if you wanted to. There are thumb screws here for that. Same in the back. This one is, like I said earlier, can be slid up and down, which is kind of nifty, I guess. So I've removed the case side temporarily. It's actually glass, like real glass, not like acrylic, like I said before, like actual tempered glass. So that's kind of cool. Still kind of mad about the top being all janky, but whatever. I can throw some screws in that, it's fine. To get the door off, there's just one screw that goes right here, and then the whole panel just lifts off these hinges and you can take it away. Inside the case you have a power supply dungeon, like you see here, and I believe it's 225mm for the amount of power supply that you can fit in here realistically in this enclosure. You have a nice little cable management rubber thingy there, and that's about it, just there. And so you can actually hide all your cables inside this enclosure, which is kind of neat. Power supply also has a fan filter on the bottom of the case inside the dungeon. So yeah, the top, I looked it up. You can fit 320mm fans over the top, or I'm sorry, you can put 2 up here, or one 140, and then 3 120s on the front, like I said before, and then just the one in the back. Obviously it fits all the way up to a full ATX size motherboard, and you have a bunch of cable management things here. Definitely enough room here that you could put a radiator, like a 3x120 if you wanted to, up here in the front. And there's also some random just bolt holes in the bottom of the case, and I'll get you a picture that we'll put up on the screen of this. There's some adjustable, like just random holes in the bottom of the case that you could reasonably bolt something like a water pump or something else just to the bottom of the case. So in terms of what we've got functionality-wise here, we have our USB 3.0 pins here. We got your standard audio, which they finally stopped including the double audio. You just get HD now, which is kind of cool. And then we've also got our standard reset switch, power LEDs, power switch, all that. And then this other weird cable, which we'll get a close-up shot of that. It's kind of funky looking. This is the USB Type-C cable for plugging into your motherboard. I just haven't gotten a new case in a while, so that's really neat. We'll see how we can make that happen. And that's about what this case is like on the inside, other than looking great. Like, first impressions, you know, there's some poor construction issues that I'm a little mad about with assembly, but I think it's going to be okay. And otherwise, I mean, it looks really sharp. I mean, let's be honest. Put this side panel back on. These side panels, by the way, weigh probably like 5 pounds a piece. They are not light. They're like hanging a real door. and then we just close that up like that. The problem that I have with these is that they're pretty easy to just open, which is kind of a problem, but whatever. As far as what you get in terms of some fun doohickeys, you get a couple pieces of Velcro from Corsair, a whole lot of zip ties, and then of course standard set of bolts. Nothing too fancy there. There's nothing all that interesting of note as far as the bolts are concerned. You pretty much get exactly what you'd think to just get your hard drives on, and there's a little adapter for screwing in the motherboard standoffs. And that's about it, really. We have a lot of cable routing, and there is a ton of room on the back side of this case to put extra cables. So let me flip that around. I mean, there is a lot of extra room where you could potentially hide cables. There's also there's a channel here that you can take apart and run cables through it. And this is also where all of the cable grommets on the other side. I think what we're going to do probably in a future video is I will put a build of some sort inside this case and then talk about how it's working out. I'm going to probably swap cases with what I've got currently, and we'll see how it goes. So I think that's about it for the unboxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys real soon. Questions, comments below.